Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back. We are reading A Boy Calls Bat. We are on chapter 16, page 95. Grab your books and get ready to read along. The next day, when it was time for recess, Israel stopped at Bat's desk instead of going outside with the rest of the class and asked, "Hey, Bat, do you want to play Foursquare or something?" "No," said Bat. He was still sitting at his desk. "No, you don't want to play Foursquare?" "No, I don't want to play anything," Bat answered. All the other kids had left the classroom, and Bat had really wanted Israel to leave too, so he could talk to Mr. Grayson in private. But Israel kept standing there like he was waiting for something. "Well, do you want to go outside and just not play anything?" "No," Bat said, "I don't." Israel stood next to the desk for a moment longer, sort of smiling, like he was waiting for Bat to say something more. But what could he be waiting for Bat to say? In his head, Bat ran through the list of things that he was supposed to remember to say to people. "Excuse me, I'm sorry. Please, may I? Thank you." "Thank you," Bat said. Okay," said Israel, and he shrugged and then finally left. After Israel was gone, Bat went up to Mr. Grayson's desk. Mr. Grayson had a stack of their current events assignments in front of him, and he was making comments on each one in the green felt tip pen. "Mr. Grayson," Bat said, "I need your help." Mr. Grayson put the cap on his pen and set it down. "I'm all ears," he said. That was a funny expression, and for a second, Bat pictured Mr. Grayson made entirely of ears, with ears for eyes, and an ear for a nose, and two tiny rows of little ears for teeth. "Well," Bat said, "let me tell you about Thor." And then Bat told Mr. Grayson everything about the skunk kit, about how Mom had brought him home after his mother had died, and about how he drank puppy formula because there is no skunk formula, and about how he went to the bathroom and how he needs to eat every 2 hours, and how Mom first brought him home. He was almost all pink, but now his black fur was starting to grow in, and most of all, how Bat loved him. "He sounds pretty great," said Mr. Grayson. "Yes," said Bat. "He's more than pretty great. He is all the way great. So how can I help you, Bat?" "There's a world skunk expert named Dr. Jerry Drago, and I want his advice about something. It's important." "Okay," said Mr. Grayson. He pushed a stack of papers to one side and pulled his laptop from his satchel. He opened it up and logged on. That was one of the great things about Mr. Grayson. If you said you needed help, he just helped without a lot of annoying questions. "There is only one Dr. Jerry Drago," said Mr. Grayson. "He's a professor at a university. We can write him an email if you want. That's his email address right here." Could it really be that easy? Could Bat really just write to the skunk expert? Bat liked to send emails. He sent emails every month to his grandmother who lived in Idaho because he hated talking on the phone. Emails gave you time to think. "Okay," said Bat. "What do you want it to say?" "I can type it for you." Mr. Grayson clicked on his email icon and typed in the address. "That's all right," said Bat. "I like to type." Mr. Grayson let Bat sit in his chair. Bat typed, "Dear Dr. Jerry Drago." Mr. Grayson said, "You could just write, Dear Dr. Drago." People don't usually use the person's first and last name when they start a letter. People don't usually have a name as cool as Dr. Jerry Drago, Bat said. Mr. Grayson laughed. "Can't argue with that." Bat went on. "My mom bought me a baby skunk. She is a vet and she had to help him be born. His mother died, but she didn't have any diseases, and neither does he. His name is Thor. I want to keep him as a pet because I know I can be a good pet caretaker. Even if I can't keep him forever, I want to at least keep him until he goes back home to the wild, not give him to a skunk rescue people. Please write back and say I can do so I can tell my mom that a world skunk expert says yes. Then she would probably let me keep him." "Is that okay?" Bat asked. Mr. Grayson didn't answer right away, so Bat turned to look at him. Mr. Grayson's face was squinched up like he was trying not to laugh, or maybe he was going to cry. "Mr. Grayson," Bat asked, "what's wrong?" "Nothing is wrong, Bat. That is a very nice email. I will be interested to hear what Dr. Drago says." "Me too," said Bat. At the end of the email, he typed, "Sincerely, Bixby Alexander Tam. People call me Bat." Chapter 17. At the clinic. Bat loved going to Mom's veterinarian clinic. If it were up to him, he would go with her every time she had to work late instead of staying home with Janie. But Mom said that as much as she loved having Bat at work with her, all of his questions sometimes kept the vet techs from doing their jobs. Bat tried not to ask so many questions, but there were so many interesting things to ask questions about. Today you can help Lawrence with the bats, Mom told Bat as she drove him 3 miles from Seawitt School to the small brick building marked Valerie Tam, DVM. Jamie was always trying to get Mom to rename her veterinarian clinic something else, something fun, she'd say, something creative. So far, she has suggested the Furry Friends Clinic, Paws for the Moment Veterinarian, Nose to Tail, and everything in between, and her favorite, the Pawsbital. But Bat liked seeing Mom's name on the side of the building. It was like she was a celebrity. I'm good at Baz, Bat said. Yes, said Mom, you are. As he pulled open the heavy glass door at the front of the brick building, Bat was overwhelmed with smells and sounds. The lavender peppermint spray was used to clean up pet accidents. The wet dog scent of shampooing going on in the back room. Barking, 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 a phone ringing, people talking, a cat's yowl. If there was this much ruckus at school or at the playground or anywhere else at all, Bat would definitely need his earmuffs. But here, the sounds and the smells didn't bother him. Even the flickering fluorescent light didn't irritate him very much. Suzanne stood behind the counter, running a lady's credit card through the machine with one hand while she answered the ringing phone with the other. Dr. Tam's office, she said, waving hello at Bat as he walked by. He waved back, but he didn't say anything because he didn't want to bother her. It used to be that he didn't notice people were busy with other things, but he was way better now. At least he usually was. An old lady like an old grandmother sat on the bench in the waiting room. She held a box in her lap. Bat stopped in front of her. What kind of animal do you have in that box? It's my cat, Pickles, the lady said. He's not feeling 100%. What are his symptoms? Bat asked. Are you the veterinarian? The lady asked. No, said Bat, not yet. Oh, said the lady. Well, he has indigestion and he hasn't been very hungry lately. There's lots of things that it could be. Bat looked at his mom, who stood next to him. She shrugged. I'll have to examine Pickles to know what's wrong, she said. Then she turned to the lady. I'll see you and Pickles in just a minute or two. I hope Pickles feels better soon, said Bat. Then he followed Mom through the door that separated the waiting room from the back and watched as she took her white coat from its hook. She put it on, and then Mom was Dr. Tam, a veterinarian. Better than a superhero. One day, Bat would also have a jacket just like Mom's. It would be white, and it would have 5 buttons, and it would say Dr. Tam, DVM, embroidered just above his heart. Of this, Bat was 99.9% sure, because that was as sure as you could be about anything. I've got to go see patients, Mom said. You stay close to Lawrence and be a help, okay? Hey, Bat Boy, what's up? Lawrence was the only person who called Bat Boy. Mom rescued a skunk kit, and we were raising it. She says we have to give him to a rescue in a month. Well, 3 weeks from now, but I'm going to change her mind. We named him Thor, Bat said. Lawrence laughed. I know all about the kit, he said. Who do you think is taking care of him while you're at school? You are, said Bat. Are you doing a good job? Lawrence rumpled Bat's hair, and Bat smoothed it back down. Of course I'm doing a good job, Lawrence said. It's the only kind of job I know how to do. Look, he reached into the neck of his shirt and pulled out the strangest necklace Bat had ever seen. It was made of a t-shirt material and ended in a little pouch just big enough for cradling a skunk kit. Is Thor in there? Bat asked. Lawrence nodded. Yep, the little guy seemed kind of lonely in the kennel, so I made him a sling for him out of one of my old t-shirts last night. See, snug as a bug in a rug. Lawrence opened the pouch so Bat could see inside. There was Thor, curled up into a sleeping ball. Can I wear him? Bat asked. Of course. We don't want him to get wet when I'm washing the dogs here. Very carefully, Lawrence pulled the sling over his head and then lowered it over Bat's. But the sling, which had barely reached Lawrence's chest, sank all the way to Bat's belly button. We can fix that, said Lawrence, and he looped the fabric into a knot behind Bat's neck to shorten the sling. There, he said. Now you're a marsupial bat. There are no marsupial bats, Bat said. Marsupial infants need to have strong arms and claws to climb out of their mother's pouch. Bats have wings. Bat peered into the pouch to see if Thor had been disturbed by the movement, but the kit was still fast asleep. He's got more fur than he had this morning, Bat said. I can see the black and white growing in. They grow up fast, Lawrence said. You seem bigger than the last time I saw you, too. Not you, said Bat, closing the pouch and tucking it into his shirt. You're already all the way big. Lawrence grinned. If I get any bigger, I'll have to buy special order shoes. I already wear the biggest size the shoe store sells. Good thing you're too old to grow, Bat said. Good thing indeed, said Lawrence. Then he said, Thor is a great name, Bat. Did you come up with it? No, said Bat. Janie did. You're a lucky kid to have such a creative sister, Lawrence said. Did you thank her? No, said Bat. Not yet. Well, there'll be time for that later, Lawrence said. How about assisting me with some baths? Usually Bat would do just about anything to help Lawrence with baths, but now with Thor in his sling curled up in his sleep. I don't know, said Bat. Don't worry about the kit, Lawrence said. You can wear an apron and I'll do all the soapy stuff. Lawrence draped a green apron around Bat's neck, tied it to make sure that it wasn't pressing too tight against the sling as Lawrence tied the waist strap. All good? Lawrence asked. I can't tell if Thor's still breathing, Bat said. Maybe it's too tight. Lawrence untied the strap and Bat took off the apron. He pulled it open the sling and peered inside. There was Thor, still tightly curled into a little ball, still fast asleep. He's okay, sighed Bat. Lawrence patted Bat's shoulder. Maybe you can just keep me company today. How does that sound, Bat boy? Better, said Bat. I can supervise. Good idea, Lawrence said. You can tell me when I use too much soap. That's easy, said Bat, following Lawrence into the holding room where the dogs waited in separate kennels for their bath. You always use too much soap. Bat climbed up on the counter across the big silver wash basin and watched as Lawrence bent down to open the far kennel. He scooped up a shaggy white poodle who didn't look very happy about what was going to happen. You're okay, Jeff, Lawrence said. He was using his soothing voice, calm and deep. Jeff is a funny name for a poodle, Bat said. Well, Bat's a funny name for a kid, Lawrence answered, setting Jeff into the wash basin before smiling at Bat. Bat smiled back. Then Lawrence got to work slipping Jeff's head into a restraint so he couldn't jump off the tub. Then turning on the faucet and running his hand under the water to check the temperature before he started spraying down the dog. That's a new restraint, isn't it? Bat asked. Good eye, said Lawrence. He shut off the water and began massaging shampoo into Jeff's curly belt. The other one was getting rusty, so I ordered this new model. Is that a suction cup connected to the wall? It sure is, said Lawrence, and a strong one, too. He grabbed a hold of the rope and tugged on it to show Bat how well it was connected to the wall. But with a loud pop, the suction cup came free. Jeff didn't waste any time. With the excited yip, he scrambled off the lip of the wash basin and leaped to the ground, bubbles everywhere. He slipped and slid when he landed, his nails scraping across the linoleum floor. Lawrence reached to grab him, but Jeff was too fast. He scrambled back toward the door. Bat pulled up his legs up into the counter and crossed them, one arm wrapping protectively around Thor in a sling. The air smelled like warm wet dog and strawberry shampoo. Lawrence's fingers were inches away from Jeff when his heel found a puddle of soapy water. One moment he was standing, and the next moment he was flat on his back. Are you okay? Bat asked, but he didn't climb down from his perch. His first priority was keeping the kit safe and dry. I've been better, Lawrence groaned. Jeff, who had discovered the door was closed tight, returned to peer down at Lawrence. He lowered his head and lovingly licked Lawrence's cheek with a long pink tongue. Chapter 18, Dinner Date. Maybe the best moment of the whole day was when Bat finally felt Thor wrestling in the pouch that hung from around Bat's neck. Thor woke up from his nap just when Lawrence was finishing the last bath, which was for an inky spaniel named Webster. Lawrence, Bat said, Thor is waking up. Bat pulled open the sling and gently extracted the kit from it. Holding Thor's warm, wiggly body up to his cheek, the kit's nose twitched as he sniffed around. Bat wants his milk, Lawrence said, and together they fed him. If Bat had his way, he would wear Thor in the sling all the time, but Mom made him take it off at bath time and bedtime. She was willing to compromise at dinner. Really, Bat, don't you think Thor would be more comfortable in his enclosure? Mom said as she served out 3 platefuls of spaghetti and meatballs. No, said Bat, I really don't. Mom squinted her eyes tight. When she opened them, she said, okay, Thor can join us for dinner as long as he stays in the sling. I bet when he's older, though, Thor will love spaghetti and meatballs, Bat said happily, twirling a messy fork of noodles. Skunks eat everything, you know. They're omnivores. Ami means everything. Vor means who eats. We know, Bat, said Janie. You already told us this like 100 times. Don't you think it's interesting, asked Bat. Don't I think what is interesting? Everything, said Bat. Everything there is to know about animals. Not really, said Janie. I think theater is way more interesting than animals. That's stupid, said Bat, because it was. Bat, said Mom in her warning voice, deep and serious with her eyebrows pointed towards her nose. I'm sorry I said your interest is stupid, said Bat. He wasn't actually sorry because Janie's interest was stupid. Theater was pretend. Animals were real, but Mom had let him bring Thor to the dinner table, so Bat turned his mouth up into a smile and added, Will you forgive me? Mom liked it when he remembered to say that. Whatever, Janie said. Mom, did you make any garlic bread? Oh, it's in the oven. It's probably done, Mom said. Janie pushed back from the table and found an oven mitt in the drawer and pulled out the tray of bread out of the oven. It smelled wonderful. Ezra once said that garlic is the best smell in the world, better than even the roses, Janie said, putting the bread slices into a basket and bringing it to the table. That Ezra is a character, Mom said. He's pretty funny, Janie said. He even makes our math teacher laugh, and she doesn't think anything is funny. If she doesn't think anything is funny, Bat said, reaching across the table for a piece of bread, then why does she laugh at Ezra? Is it mean laughing? No, Bat said Janie. She thinks Ezra is funny. Then why did you say that she doesn't think anything is funny? Never mind, Bat said Janie. Bat took a bite of garlic bread. The crust was crusty and the inside was hot and squishy. Melted butter glazed his fingers, which he licked one by one. They ate for a few minutes without talking, the only sound of the crunch of biting into the bread and the scraping noise of forks against the plates as they wound bites of spaghetti. Then Janie announced, I decided I'm going to audition for the Queen. I thought you wanted to be Alice, Mom said. That was before I read the script, Janie said. Then I realized that Alice is boring. She just wanders around whining about everything. You'd be good at that part, Bat said. You're good at whining. Mom, whined Janie. Make him stop. Bat, said Mom. That wasn't nice. But I said she would make a good Alice, Bat said. But not for a good reason, Mom explained. Why does the reason matter? I gave her a compliment. I don't think it felt like a compliment to Janie, Mom said. Janie, did it feel like a compliment to you? No, said Janie. It was an insult. You see, Bat, Mom said Mom. That wasn't a compliment to Janie. Suddenly, Bat wished that he had been wearing his earmuffs and he hadn't heard Mom and Janie talk about the play. Sometimes it was just better if Bat kept his thoughts to himself. Bat ate a few more bites of his spaghetti and he had almost finished all of his bread when he felt Thor wiggling around his pouch. May I be excused, he asked. Yes, said Janie. Honey, you know it's up to you to model good behavior, Bat heard Mom say to Janie as he headed to the refrigerator to go get the puppy formula. Sometimes, Mom, even I'm not good enough to actress to pretend not to notice when Bat is being weird. Oh, Janie, said Mom. Get out the formula, Bat told himself. Put some on the syringe, warm it up, ignore Janie. Bat knew that sometimes Janie thought he was weird, but he still didn't like to hear her say it out loud. Actually, Janie could be weird too, like when she sang the song at the top of her lungs in the shower, even though there wasn't an audience, and how she cared if her hair was wavy or straight. Did Ezra ever think that Janie was weird? Maybe that's what makes Ezra her friend, Bat thought. He likes the parts of her that everyone else thinks are weird. All right, boys and girls, that was a lot of reading today. You guys have a great day, and we will start again tomorrow.